Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's Monday Zen and Zazen class. Today I will talk about the precious mirror Samadhi, but before we start with the theory, let's practice together for 30 minutes. Okay, thank you for joining. Today I will talk about the, in Japanese, Hokyo Zammai, precious mirror Samadhi. I used to read the translation that came with a Chinese text. You can find that below the old videos. Today I want to share and read the text that you can find in the book by Ross Bolleter, an Australian Zen teacher, and I learned a lot from his book, especially about the part that we will come to today, where the text talks about one of the 64 hexagrams in another old Chinese text. I think also in English you say Yi Ging. Yi Ging is the name of this old text. It's most often it's used for fortune telling. But if you read the text like this, it's kind of hard to understand. But I think Ross Bolleter does a good job explaining what it probably means. But first, let me share the screen, and after that, I will try to explain. Today I seem to have problems sharing screen audio. What's this? Okay, now it works. So that's the translation that you can find in the book by Ross Bolleter, Dongshan, or Japanese Tozan, Song of the Precious Mirror Samadhi. I won't explain the whole text once more, but let me read it right from the start, because this is a new translation. Maybe some of you are not familiar with it. The Dharma of just this is passed down from the Buddha in confidence. Today it's yours. Take good care of it. A silver bowl filled with snow, the bright moon concealing egrets. Categorized, they are not the same. Inchoate? I'm not quite sure. Bolleter uses more difficult English words, so I'm not quite sure about the pronunciation here. Inchoate, inchoate, the place is known. The meaning does not reside in the words, but a pivotal moment brings it forth. Move, and you are mired. Hesitate, and you fall into doubt and vacillation. Neither ignore nor confront what is like a great conflagration. The other translation talked about a fire here. Attempting to give it shape, refinement, or color immediately defiles you. Fully illuminated at midnight, hidden at daybreak. It is an exemplar for all beings, used to liberate them from suffering. Fully illuminated at midnight, hidden at daybreak. And I've been talking about that the last couple of weeks. This would be the first of the 5 ranks. Fully illuminated at midnight, that would be the absolute truth or the essential. Using the metaphor of the movie and the screen, it's the black screen before the movie has even started. There needs to be this one black screen, and the screen here stands for consciousness, pure consciousness. And if anybody would ask, well, which consciousness? Which out of 10 some people that came here together, each of us has a consciousness. Which consciousness do we talk about? And the answer would be that one and only one consciousness that is hearing Muho talk in this moment. The only one consciousness that's actually conscious of itself. That's the consciousness we talk about. And without that one consciousness, so to speak, your consciousness, although that consciousness doesn't even have an owner, the consciousness that you usually call your consciousness, that one consciousness needs to be there for the universe to be there, for the movie to start in the first place. And then with the break of dawn, darkness disappears. There's only the movie. And I think a couple of weeks ago I already said I'm a little bit confused that this would stand for the first rank, because the first rank is the relative inside the absolute. But here it says it's illuminated in the middle of the night, it shines bright, but when the day breaks it disappears. So when it's completely dark, then when it's there, but then when the relative truth appears, it's completely gone. The two don't come together. But basically what I think is meant here is, usually we only see the movie. We only see, for example, the screen of the computer. I see 13 of you right now there. And I'm quite sure there's more participants that have the camera off. I look out of the window, I see the world. But for the world to appear, first of all, there needs to be this one consciousness. But normally we don't see them together. We only see the movie and we forget about the screen. But let me continue. What follows here is the second rank. I'm a little bit confused. Here. Fully illuminated at midnight, hidden at daybreak, it's an exemplar for all beings, used to liberate them from suffering, although it does not act. It is not without words. That's the first rank, and now comes number 2. As when you face the precious mirror, form and reflection behold each other. You are not him or her, of course. You are not him. He or her is exactly you. The text here talks about a mirror, but we could also talk about looking out of the window. When you look out of the window, what do you see? You might see people returning from work or going to work. People go shopping. Kids go to school. And that's what's usually called the relative truth, or Bolleter also calls it the contingent. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not essential. It's not necessary that the world is like this. But it happens to be that way. That's reality. And when you look out of the window, you see the world outside, but you don't see yourself inside the world. That's what's special about a mirror. You look in the mirror and you see the world, you see the room you stand in, but you see yourself in the center of the room. And from the point of the absolute truth, what you see in the mirror is not your real self. It's the illusory form of yourself. It's the relative self. It's that part of you that has a name, a gender, a nationality, an age, but the true self has no name, no form. But this rank basically says the opposite. What you see there in the mirror is also you. It's not you because it's not the absolute self, but it's also you. And when you look out of the window and you see all these faces, actually realize they are also living their own true self. So the Absolute is looking at me through many pairs of eyes. When you look out of the window, when you look into the mirror, you're looking at the relative part of yourself, but actually that relative part of yourself is also a manifestation of the Absolute Self. So that's the Absolute inside the relative. And now comes rank number 3. What do we have here? Like an infant endowed with 5 features. So a baby already has 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, the mouth, the whole body, and they are working. The infant is experiencing the world probably much more intense than we do, because everything is new for the infant. The infant is seeing the world with fresh eyes, but not going, not coming, not arising, not abiding, baba, waba. Not going, not coming, not rising, not abiding stands for the Absolute, or emptiness in the Heart Sutra. And baba, baba here is the Japanese reading. I think the Chinese was popo han han. That's basically the sounds that a baby makes. Or papa, mama are also kind of the sounds that we utter at first. And so later then we think that papa refers to the father and mama to the mother. But actually that's just random sounds that a baby makes. So basically that's the state of the Absolute Truth. In a way you could say it's the state that Adam and Eve lived in before they bit into the apple. Or to be more exact, in the story that you find in the Bible, I think God and Adam took a walk through the Garden in Eden, and Adam had to give a name to all the plants and the animals. And only later he met Eve, and then they bit into the apple. And you could say what the text is talking here is about the Garden Eden before Adam gave a name to all the plants and animals. Everything was there, and Adam looked at things around him with surprise, but he didn't have names for the things yet. So that would be the third state, coming out of the Absolute, but you don't have concepts for the relative yet. And now comes the part of the text which is new. Speaking without speaking, in the end there's nothing said, as the words aren't properly formed. I talked about that 2 weeks ago. So there's no name for the Absolute. Or when I say the true man without a rank, or I don't say that, that's Rinzai saying that. Actually, even those words don't really touch the thing. Or when I talk about the here and now. Also, the words here and now don't really fit the reality that I mean, but we have nothing better than that. But now comes the text portion. In the 6 lines of the doubled Li hexagram, essential and contingent, so those are Boleter's words for the Absolute and the relative. The Absolute is the one consciousness that sees and hears. The relative is the reflection that you see in the mirror. These are the essential and the contingent. They mutually correspond in the doubled Li hexagram. Ranked in pairs, they yield 3. Transformed, they make 5. Like the 5 tastes of the Schisandra berry and the 5-pronged diamond vajra. Up to here. I wouldn't be surprised if you're just as confused by these few lines as I was. when I read them for the first time, and basically up until I read this explanation that you can also find in the book by Ross Bolleter. First of all, this is the Li hexagram. Sometimes it's translated as double fire. It consists of 2 trigrams, so probably you know the Yi Ging. There are 64 arrangements that consist of 6, how do you say, stripes. So either you have the one that's connected, that would be a yang symbol, or you have the one that's broken, that would be a yin symbol. And there's, for example, one hexagram that consists of 6 yang stripes. There's another one that has 6 yin stripes. And all of the other 64, they're a combination. And Li, the one for fire or double fire, has yang and then yin, 2 yang, 1 yin, yang. And Ross Bolleter says that this one corresponds for the 5th rank that I will talk about in a couple of weeks. The 5th rank, Bolleter translates it as arriving at concurrence or harmony. Basically, that's where the relative and the absolute totally blend with each other. Or you could also say they both disappear. There's nothing absolute and nothing relative anymore. That's the last rank. And this is symbolized by the hexagram for Li, fire. And another meaning of this hexagram obviously is the clinging. And that's funny because in Buddhism, clinging or attachment is the basic problem of our suffering. So it would be strange that here it stands for the 5th rank of enlightenment. It's associated with the clinging. What is more confusing is this piled on each other, they make 3, and transformed, they become 5. This is explained by Bolleter in the following way. If you look at the double Li hexagram, it consists of 2 of these trigrams. That's the Li trigram, and it stands for fire. Now you can change the order. So here it's yang, yin, yang. But you can change the order to yang, yang, yin. You can also change the order to yin, yang, yang. And if you change the order and then pile them up again, what you get is these 5 here. So Shun, the gentle, penetrating wind, is supposed to stand for the 1st rank. That would be yang, yang, yin piled on each other. Or if you have yin, yang, yang and put them on each other, you get Dui, the joyous lake. That would be the 2nd rank. The essential within the contingent. So you look at the mirror. What you see is you, but at the same time it's not you. And the 3rd rank would be Da Guo, preponderance of the great. And in this case, you combine yin, yang, yang with yang, yin, yin. Or the other way around, yang, yin, yin combined with yin, yang, yang would yield the 4th rank. And about that I will talk in 2 weeks. That would be Zhong Fu, inner truth. And the question, of course, is, and it's a question to which I don't have an answer. The question is, in the Yi Ging there are 64 hexagrams. Why those 5? What about the other 59? All 64 hexagrams kind of describe how yin and yang, or the absolute and the relative, work together. So if 2, like in the Heart Sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form, is if these two truths are not enough, and the third one that's kind of in the middle still is not enough. If Tosan or Dungshan says we need 5, why doesn't he even go a step further and uses all 64? Why doesn't Tosan, if he makes a relation here to the Yiging, why doesn't he make a connection with all 64 hexagrams? Of course, in a way, I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't, because then it would become even more complicated. But I don't really see the point why he makes a connection with these 5 out of the 64. Bollitter tries to explain what is special about the Li hexagram. You can check it by yourself in the book. To be honest, I don't really understand what makes the Li hexagram so special compared to the others. And I don't know why the other 4 correspond to the other 4 of these 5 ranks. But I've already talked so much. I want to give you time to share your opinions or ask questions, and hopefully in 2 weeks we will get further to the 4th rank and eventually to the 5th rank. Another question is, we already got to the 3rd rank. Why doesn't the text continue with the 4th rank? Also, I have no idea about this. It feels a little bit like an interlude, I think you would say, in a musical play. Maybe Tosan, Dungshan also got a little bit tired and he feels like I have to throw in a little interlude here. Whatever. So if you have questions, if there's things you would like to share, please do so. Raise your hand, or just to talk, or just start talking like that if you like. Any questions, anything you would like to share? Or if anyone of you is kind of more familiar with the I Ching than myself, I would be very thankful if you can explain it to me, what is meant here. Yeah, Kenza, please.
Hi, hello. Thank you. That was quite an explanation. I still don't understand anything, but it's quite dense. But about the signs, the heptograms, I practice Kung Fu, and they are used in Kung Fu for various positions. So in certain routines, like I do white crane, so you can have like 64 different positions, and they all correspond to one of the drawings, no? So yin
Yes.
yang, how you are. But the most important are the ones are the 4 that relate to the elements, obviously, fire, water, etc.
Yes.
Or the 5, I should say. And then you play around these elements. So a routine in Kung Fu will be, let's say, a fire routine. And then you'll have things going on with your body around it that reflect yin yang. That's all I can tell you about these signs. The I Ching, it's more geomancy, and it's used obviously, as an oracle, as a mean for, predicting the future or battles or whatever. Of that, I'm not familiar. But every time you kind of look at it, think that it's related to the basic elements. I think that could help in a way. I'm not sure. And why is he focusing specifically on fire? I don't know. Because as you know, in Chinese medicine or in Chinese martial arts, no element is more important than the other. You need fire for metal, and you need it for water, and you need it, etc. So but that's just I still don't understand the text, but it's okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, as he has 5 ranks, it would have made sense if one of them corresponds to double fire and the other to, say, double wood, double metal, double water, double air. But the other 4 seem to be not directly connected to the elements. But thank you for your input. Any other questions or anything else you would like to share? Julian, please.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, otsukare samadashita. Thank you for your hard work in this matter. I think what it shows is just the limits of language as ever, doesn't it? It's just this trying to use language to nudge against the edge of what we can say.
Yeah.
That's what the poem's doing. And the key thing is, I think I was saying 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, it is that sense of movement, isn't it? From the contingent to the absolute. And I was thinking about, there was this study showing when people use Skype or Zoom, how much time people spend looking at their own image when they're doing a conversation. And presumably that's not just about vanity. Well, some of it is, but it's about thinking, well, here I feel my absolute consciousness as I'm listening, but look, there's me, the relative me. And I think it's a beguiling thing, this constant shuffling between the absolute sense of consciousness and the relative one. So I guess that's what's going on. But yeah, I did classical Chinese, I did Oracle script, and I have no way of illuminating why fire is picked out here. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. It's how do you say? Conforming? No, not conforming. Comforting to hear that both you and Kenza-san don't understand it either. So I'm not the only one. Yeah, it's comforting. Any other things you would like to share or ask?
Yes, maybe it's an illegal shortcut, but last year I think you were talking on your German channel about the same subject, and I always got lost. Like now. I feel I don't understand anything, and now it's the second time I hear. I had the hope maybe now I got it. Now I understand something because I heard it before, and now like in university you hear it again. Maybe you get something what you missed last time. But
the problem is last year I didn't understand it when I was talking about it in German. I had no idea what it could be. If I had got a big enlightenment experience in the last 12 months, it would be great, but nothing happens.
And interestingly, for me, it's now I have almost exactly the same feeling or being aware of I don't get anything. So now it's a bit suspect because Zen teachers are said to try to break your thinking habits. So second time now for me in this year after last year, it feels like maybe it's because to show me that my thinking is just stupid. I cannot get it with thinking. Maybe it's like this, like nobody understands why fire on fire now with the fifth rainbow.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the aim or the goal of this poem. Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it's strange that just before he talks about this baby state and that basically baba wawa, that's the only way you can talk about it. Now he comes with 64 hexagrams and makes connections there, which is kind of the completely opposite approach. What could be more intellectual and conceptual than bring up the 64 hexagrams here? How you couldn't be further removed from the state of the baby that he was just talking about.
Maybe that's the intention. To confuse, really deeply confuse the reader or listener.
Yeah, maybe. Anything else you would like to ask or share? If not, it's just 9 p.m. here in Japan. So if there are no more questions, I would like to thank you Next week I come back to Sawaki Roshi's quotes to you, and then in 2 weeks we get back to the precious mirror Samadhi, and next time it's going to be the 4th rank. So thank you everybody for joining. Thank you Schwanzan for hosting us here. Have a nice week and hoping to see you again. Same place, same time, same password.
Okay, good to see everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.